Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. I'm your host, Coach Tripp. We have a special four-wheel drive segment show in Coach's Corner today. To my left, Blaze Winter. Blaze, thanks for coming on, buddy. Billy Pendock is below Blaze, part of the four-wheel drive, two guy. And then our coach in high school, Billy is my coach in high school, George O'Leary, their coach at Syracuse. Coach, thanks for being on the show today.
Oh, anyway, I can help you guys out.
Oh my gosh, Coach! We have to get on you early already because you've gotten on us so many times over the years. So we have to get on you about being late. We're going to make you do up downs.
I didn't cause any losses. You guys did.
Coach, the bear crawls were like part of the bear crawls. I don't know how many bear crawls we did, but I think my traps and shoulders got humongously big from those.
They only made you better players.
Oh my gosh, Coach, we got a lot to talk about, and a lot of our listeners don't really know your story. But as you believe, as I believe, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So, talk about growing up in Central Islip, New York, and what your mom and dad were like, and your siblings. Talk about that.
Well, I was born in Manhattan and moved out to Long Island when mom and dad got tired of New York City, and I was one of 8 children. I was the second oldest, and Central Islip was a great community. A lot of different, mixed races as far as Caucasians, African Americans, and a very good athletic town. And it was a nice setting, and I don't get back there at all right now, but that's where my parents are buried, in Central Islip. So when I do go back, I make sure I stop at the cemetery to see them. But other than that, then I don't want to talk about myself. Talk about you.
I don't want to talk about us, Coach. Come on.
That sounds
Coach. Hey guys, you played for these. Coach, I just want to let you know. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the country is definitely not aware of this. Is that Billy played 3 years in high school, 4 years in college, 7 years. Blaze played 4 years in college and 2 or 3 years in the pros. So these guys are the guys that played for you the longest, Coach, than anybody on the planet.
Oh yeah, they were good players, no question. I tell you one thing about those guys: they're very tough competitors, and they gave you great effort, and and a lot of prompting from me, but they gave great effort.
We're going to talk about some of that prompting. Blazer, what was Coach like in college, and what was he like? Because you had him, I think, in San Diego for a year or two.
Well, I think Coach taught us from day one that the most important thing is to be consistent. Don't try to fool yourself. Be honest with yourself and be consistent with the things that you do day in and day out. Don't try to fool yourself because it'll catch up to you. I mean, when I was with him at Syracuse, he became like a father to me. He still is. When I was, a pro player, and he let me in the door and saved me in so many different ways. He was the same man that I met at Syracuse as when I was with him at the Chargers. And then when I went to help him up in Minnesota with those bunch of, Coach, you had a bunch of nuts up there. They were a bunch of nuts in that defensive line, Hovan and William. Oh my, they were insane. Anyway, to be around them there and then to be around, at UCF, there was no change. There was consistency, and that I'll never forget that lesson. Hey, be consistent, because if you're not, it'll all catch up to you, because you can't play or live life high and low. You have to be consistent.
Billy, he turned our program around. Matter of fact, even at Minnesota, I think they went from 30th in defense to top 10 defense in Minnesota. But he turned our high school around. And, he did it with discipline, because we worked in the offseason harder than any other school. There's no secret, right, Coach? We just outworked them in the morning. I remember going into those late weight workouts at 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning before school.
Well, I always believed after football you had winter season and spring season and summer. So you had 3 seasons, but to play football, I think, because of strength level, you had to be involved at least in 2 of those 3 seasons in the weight room, right? If you're going to get any better. Plus, I look at all these programs today, and 3 things surface real quick and show their ugly face on the football field: lack of accountability, lack of responsibility, and lack of discipline. And you look at all the programs that are suffering today, or losses and not winning. One of those 3 things usually shows up, but usually all 3 show up on the football field. And that's why they struggle.
Yeah, I noticed fundamentals is lacking too, Coach. I spot out things from college games and pro games that I wouldn't let my high school DBs get away with.
Well, I think what's killing the college game is the portal and stuff in the NLI. And, guys, it's getting like they're buying players that they're all mercenaries, I see. And that's how I treat it. I look at them as mercenaries. They have no loyalty to the school. And there's no more development of younger players, which I think that's what coaches get paid for. They all want to go out and, like the NFL, trade for players or buy players. And that's not what it's about. And it's not good for college football.
Coach, you turned our program around. We lost 1 game at Liverpool. I know my sophomore year, me, you, and Billy Pendock and Barry Hill, and I don't know why, but I picked a fight in the handshake line after that. I don't know if you saw that on film, or I don't know how much you made me run, but what did you think about this crazy Italian doing something stupid like that?
Well, you had a temper, but I don't remember what game it was, but I know your senior year we were undefeated.
Yeah.
And we played somebody in the city for the championship, and but it was a good football. You guys came to work every day, practice every day, and the big thing about it was, you all had leadership qualities. You expected your expectations of your fellow teammates. You were always the best teammate you could be, which I think is the key, which is sadly lacking today.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach. Hey, have you ever been carried off the field, Coach, after a win?
I've been water thrown at and stuff, and I'm not big on that stuff. I think players should get all the accolades they deserve and stuff. Coaches just give them direction.
Oh yeah.
There it is, Coach.
Oh wow, look at that, man.
Yeah, we did. We tried to pick you up, Coach.
What, did I fight you?
Wow, I never saw that. Wow, that's cool.
Coach, I got a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
Sure.
What made you pick Liverpool back when you left Iceland?
Well, we were like the record I had when I was head coach on the islands. I think I was 18-2 or something, or whatever, but I wanted to get out of there and stuff. And Liverpool was a big school that really wasn't winning, and I think they had like 4,000 kids in the high school, and I got a call from the athletic director. They want to know if I'd have an interest. And I said, yeah. I said, I'll come up and look at it and stuff. So I did. Luke Laporta.
Yeah.
And I went up and looked at it, and I saw basically the future with that place. I'm not talking about any past coaches that were there, but I thought there was a lot of talent still walking the halls that hadn't been playing, and you had 4 junior highs there that would feed the program. So the key was to come in and organize the program, and we ended up having 2 ninth grade teams, 2 JVs, and a varsity, which is quite incredible for a school, and they were all successful. But that's where I saw the future. There was what wasn't being done, and not what was done.
3 years.
I want to skip ahead to college now. What was your relationship with Coach Mack? Was it? I remember a kind of a tension there when he came in. I don't know if I read it wrong, or what was.
Well, I was hired by Frank Maloney out of Liverpool, who was fired after 1 year there, and Mac hired me when he got there and stuff. And I wasn't a yes guy, and I wasn't afraid to speak up, and if I disagreed with things, and Mac and I were all right and stuff. I at times he disagreed, but he was the head coach, but I had my ways about myself, and I wanted to get some things done. I thought, which were the whole purpose of playing a game is to win, but we got along fine and stuff. And he probably didn't treat me as well as he should have when I left, to go to Georgia Tech. But
Right.
I mean, I understood what his problem was and stuff. But I think the key to movement is I wasn't a coordinator at Syracuse, but I was the coordinator leaving for a job as a coordinator. And I think Mac was probably not happy about that. But but it was nothing to do with I liked I wanted to be a coordinator.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, you developed the four of us, Coach. There was me, Blaze, Timmy, and Jamie, and
Right.
we came up with the name, the 4-wheel drive. What was your first thoughts of when that started picking up around the area and around the country?
Well, I'm not big on a lot of that stuff, and I think what happened was one of the programs came out with the 4-wheel drive on. And I got into a little bit of discussion with Mac about it and stuff, and I had nothing to do with that and stuff. But I think basically you guys did a great job, taking coaching and then you played off each other, which was outstanding. But I don't think it should go beyond that. You didn't win the Heisman or anything. You just played four guys played well together.
Coach, those were four guys. Coach, those were four guys with different personalities, man. I mean, you talk about Timmy and Blaze and Billy. How did you put up with those four guys being so different?
Well, we had a lot of laughs and stuff. But,
you had a lot of chew too, Coach. You had a lot of chew in that mouth too.
Yeah.
The rest of the locker room.
But I think the key was that they knew that what they could do from a talent standpoint, and I used to always get a kick out when we went to work with the offensive line, and it wouldn't be more than 2 seconds before a fight would start, and it was sort of a waste of time, to be honest with you. But I think they came to play, and the one thing those guys did, they all played hurt. The injuries were part of the game, and I never forget. We're playing one game, and I look out there, and Blaze Winter, his fingers pointing in the wrong direction.
Oh yeah.
And he's smacking his hand on his pads, trying to straighten his finger out, and he wouldn't come out of the game. I sent him out to replace him, and he sent the kid back off the field. I said, "That's what kind of kids they had." Plus, they were smart. They knew the game. They knew protections. They knew what to do as far as to put games on and stuff like that. But they were fun to coach and stuff. And, because they knew their abilities. And I had to be hard on them because they were hard on themselves, but they were never as hard as I would be.
Coach,
I remember, man. I remember that. Go ahead.
I watch games now, and the guys, they're coming out after 1 series, 2 series, putting their hand on their head. And I tell these guys, if we come off the field, we would never go back on the field.
Well, I think that the answer to that thing today with all these kids taking a knee and then coming off, stopping the clock, I always believe that you come off the field, you should sit for the series. You shouldn't be able to go back in until you get the ball back. That would stop all that nonsense as far as guys coming off the field and coming back in the next play and stuff. And but you guys were tough. You never wanted to come out of the game and stuff. And I used to always laugh in the locker room when you guys were getting ready to go. You'd start walking around the locker room, and the rest of the team would start walking the other direction because you were banging them with your helmets and stuff. I used to start laughing and stuff. But you guys played that way. You got ready to play the game, and you went out and played it. And we won a lot of games, but we lost some that basically that defensively probably played well enough to win. Offensively, that's why it's a team game. All three have to play well to win, and sometimes that didn't happen.
Coach, let's get back to high school because you had the foresight to start a on-campus facility football field in Liverpool, and I remember all of our teammates, especially the seniors. You're big on senior leadership.
Right.
We camped the tent out and we laid the sod, we watered it, we fertilized it, we cut it, we made sure nobody messed with that sod. And I don't think anybody scored a point the whole year on our field that year, Coach.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it.
Nope.
But I remember that the Tony
Yep.
Emmy's family
Yep.
got the sod. We laid the sod down, and we took great pride in that field, and we wouldn't let anybody else on it, which is
Right.
what I wanted. And all these other sports wanted to get on the field. And I said, that ain't gonna happen, and stuff. And I think because I think we took pride in that field, and that's something that we did. But again, I think that only made the team better and stuff, and everybody helped out. I remember camping overnight. I didn't stay overnight, but I was there all the time watching the sod go down. And it's hard not to grow grass. It really is. We watered it, and it worked out really well. And I stopped last year, 2 years ago, when I went up to Tim Green's retirement of his number. I went over to Liverpool, and I stopped just to see the complex and stuff. And but they had gym class out there. And some guy came running over and says, "You're Coach O'Leary, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I just stopped by to see what the place looks like." And he goes, "Geez, let me call the AD." And I said, everybody and their brother started coming out of the building. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Coach, that was a bigger thing than when we put that field in, and it transferred down from the captains, which was us, to the team, that it was more than just a field. It was we really hated people coming on our grass, and that we took offense to that. That was.
I remember one time I'm leaving, and some guys out there hitting golf balls. And I parked my car and I went down and said, "Yo," I said, "there's a fence here for a reason." And he goes, "I'm not hurting it." I said, "You're putting divots in it." I said, "And take yourself and first of all, it's a fence there for a reason. You're trespassing. Get off the field." And the guy started arguing and stuff. I said, "Hey, I'll just call the cops. Whatever you want to do." I said, "But move. They'll go over there and hit golf." I said, "Plus, you have a lousy swing."
I'm sure. I'm sure you said it that nice to him too.
Coach, all right. So I gotta get off on this subject here. The very first meeting you had with all the players, all right, 1977. You stood around. You made everybody stand up and say their name, and I stood up and he said, "Oh, AAA, I heard you're a good golfer." He said, "I'd never seen a good football player that was a good golfer yet." And I went, "I'm going to show that son of a gun. I'm going to show him that it's possible."
But that's true, though.
Hal Irwin's a great – he was an all Big Ten DB.
Coach, before we move on, I got one more question. What were you thinking about in this picture?
I can't see the picture. What is the picture?
The captains of our me, Pendock, and Barry Hill, and I'm talking to Barry Hill. But Coach, you look mad. You probably it's a newspaper shoot, and you probably just wanted to get it over with.
It probably, I don't know. I don't remember that one, but in fact, I had trouble seeing it. But I wasn't. I always wanted to stay in the background, let the players do that stuff. I'm not big on. When you see today the coaching stuff, it's sort of ridiculous. The coaches give direction to a team. Players execute the direction. That's what's important and stuff. And I always acknowledge that. You don't win without good players and stuff. And that's what we had. We had good players that did everything they were supposed to do, and and basically enjoy each other's company. I mean, they did, and. We had a great following in the community and at the high school, and it was I enjoyed myself there, and I would have never left there except a college job, which I was looking to go to anyway.
Right,
Coach, you go to Georgia Tech. You go to Georgia Tech, Coach, and you win. Go ahead, Billy. Go ahead, Bill.
One quick thing for Coach. Coach, you've been successful everywhere you've been, and we, on the show here. We talked to a lot of high school coaches, junior high coaches. What was your biggest secret to your success everywhere you landed?
Well, probably the word perseverance.
Amen.
I never let other people's opinions bother me. I had my own philosophy, what I wanted to do, and that's what I did. And I put in a lot of time as I leave, it was dark in the morning. I get home, it was dark at night, and
Yes, you
but
did.
I think you always try to get every day you learn something. Every day you learn something new in football. I always looked at that a goal, learn something I didn't know in football, and that's what I try to do each day. Some little thing, maybe time management, it may be anything, adjustments or something like that. But I thought that's what was important as far as always trying to get better.
You never really seem to ask anybody to do something you wouldn't do yourself. I always admire the fact that whatever you ask people to do, you did yourself. If it was, hey, get here on time or be here early, show initiative. I mean, you were there at 4:30.
Well,
you were there till 10 p.m.
Yeah, I enjoyed working. I enjoyed that. But I look at the colleges today. They got 40 coaches on the sideline or assistants.
Wow. Yeah.
It's utterly ridiculous what's going on and stuff. And they're all running around with their hats on sideways, on backwards, and everything else. And I don't know what that's about, but it's got out of order and stuff. It really has. As far as when we were coaching, you had the head coach and 9 assistants, then a 10th assistant, and 4 GAs, and that's it. All the rest of those guys, they were in the stands. They're the cheerleaders.
Yeah. A lot of cheerleaders, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys had some big wins at Syracuse. Before we move on to Georgia Tech and Central Florida, let's finish up our Syracuse talk. BC and Doug Flutie, you beat them 21-10 in 1983. We lost to them that year at Alabama. So
they're a good club. We beat them, but then we lost over at the Patriots Stadium one game and stuff. He was a good quarterback, smart quarterback and stuff. And I'll never forget that. We were in man coverage, and he put the back in motion. I was yelling, stay home, because he's going to run a draw and stuff. He's a smart quarterback and stuff. They went with him. He could make plays. That's the difference today. Quarterbacks that can use their feet to make plays or their arm, and then they know where to throw them.
You had a great one at Georgia Tech, Coach. You had a good quarterback at Georgia Tech. Talk about him.
Joe?
Yeah, Joe. Joe was part of your national championship team.
Joe had the it factor. Some guys. I was talking to a coach. I said, this past year, everybody's talking about we won that. We had a great team. I think we ended up being 10-1 or 10-2, something like that. But he saved about 31 sacks, that year. I went back and looked at film and stuff. But he had that it factor. He made plays and he made everybody better around him. Very positive kid and great basketball player and stuff. And but he was announcing games for Tech. I don't know what happened there. Someone told me he's not doing it anymore. But he's a great player. In fact, we got him because everybody else wanted to make him a DB, and I promised him to be a quarterback until he came to my office and said that he didn't want to be a quarterback anymore. Well, he never came to my office, so he stayed a quarterback, and he was a great player. Great player.
Coach, you have an eye for talent, and I think great coaches, great head coaches or recruiters, they can see things in kids. I'll give you an example. You came here to Pensacola when I was coaching at Catholic. You actually got Josh Sitton, who turned to be an All-Pro guard and a Super Bowl winner. What did you see in Josh that other coaches didn't see, and what do you think it's an art, not a science, to find those kids?
I think you got to spend time. I never watched highlight tape. I said, when you're watching the highlight tape, you're not going to see a bad play. Right. I used to want to watch game tape and see him the whole game. And Josh was a big athlete that could move his feet. And I said, he's a guy that can play. Yeah. I don't know why other people weren't recruiting him, but we went after him hard. In fact, I came in late in January from Minnesota, and I recruited Josh Sitton and Pat Brown, both of them in January on, and both of them ended up going into the NFL and playing in the NFL. I said, tells you about the star system.
Coach, how'd you turn around UCF, man? I mean, it's Central Florida, you probably got a lot of coaching buddies to tell you that, that's a dead end job, or good luck with that. But your statue stands outside that stadium, so you did a lot of good things there.
Well, the reason I took the job was because Steve Orsini was the assistant AD at Georgia Tech when I was there, and he was the AD. He called me, and I liked the pro game, but I wanted to get back to college and stuff, and so I took the job, and it was when I showed up, they had 8 linemen in the whole program.
Oh,
8 linemen in the whole program because they had dismissed 31 players for academic cheating before I got there.
wow.
So we took our lumps, but we did it the right way, built the program, and I think that's funny. Josh Sitton told a story about me when I was up at Green Bay when they enshrined him there. He says, "I'll tell you about Coach. He got in. We were in the weight room. We're working. There's a garbage pail there, and a lot of guys are getting sick and stuff. And he says, fellas, I'll help you guys out tomorrow. Don't worry about it." So he says, no, he did. He walked in the next day and all he did the next day was bring another garbage pail.
Hey, you helped them.
I told you I'd help you. So, but I tell you, I think they had the right people administratively that wanted to win when I took the job, and there were only 2 Division I people background. They are AD and a fellow named Tom Holston when I was there. Everybody else was no Division I experience. So we had to do a lot of things, and step on a lot of hands. But we did the right thing as far as facilities and players, and did it with integrity.
Coach, talk about your 2 greatest players that you coached. High school at Central Islip, and I think you had 82% win rate in high school. You were 37-8-1 as a high school coach. But talk about Central Islip's Mike Tice and Timmy Green at Syracuse.
Well, Mike Tice was a quarterback, good athlete. He was the reason I went to Minnesota Vikings. He got the head job there. He called me up, asked me to come on, but a good athlete, played basketball, and he was quarterback. He went down to Maryland, and at that time, Boomer Esiason was there also. So Mike ended up playing I think moved to tight end, and that's where he played in the NFL when he was there. Him and his brother John was there for. Between them, they had, I think, 14 years apiece in the NFL, which is long. And Tim was just a good competitor, at Liverpool, and outstanding wrestler, and everything he pretty much touched turned to gold and stuff. But he worked at it. He worked at his trade in all phases. As a lawyer, as a writer, and all that. And I always get after him because he called me. He says, Coach, I dedicated my first book to you in the copyright. I said, oh. So he sent me the book, and what he said was, and to the man who taught me the dark side of football, Coach O'Leary, I said, I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Yeah, the dark side of the game, right?
He taught me the dark side of football. I said, Tim, I don't know if that's a compliment. He goes, well, everybody knows football. I said, but everybody buying your book doesn't know football. Yeah. I said, whatever, but those were good. I had a bunch of good athletes, really did, but they worked hard. But more important, what I like is when they call me, they're out of coach, they're out of playing time, and they have a family, they're raising a family, everybody's doing well, and they've learned the lessons from football as far as forging on and fighting ahead and getting things done correctly. That's what I like and stuff. I mean, that football's a means to an end, but it's not an end in itself. That guys went out and learned what it takes to do things right, the hard work it takes.
Absolutely, Coach. I know I got a quick question for you. Intangibles or talent? Which one will you take?
A little of both. I think I've seen a lot of talented guys that don't make it because they don't use the talent and they don't listen. Right. But that's why pretty much every kid I ever recruited, I always met their parents because I believe the apples don't fall far, and at some time or other they're going to struggle in football and in the classroom, and I'm going to need to get on the phone and talk to the parents and need their support. And that's what I think is lacking so much today with college, that the parents are in it, a lot of them, for the wrong reason. They just look at the financial gain instead of the long-term gain as far as playing the great sport of football.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for not taking me up to Syracuse with you, with Billy and because I would have ended up either in jail or dead or both if you did. So thank you for letting me go to Alabama. I appreciate that. I'll always thankful for that.
Well, you made a good decision and stuff, and I always kid around and say I think Bear put him on one of those swimming scholarships.
No, I had to pay for 4 years. I didn't get a scholarship till my 5th year there.
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong guy.
Hey, Coach, when I coached at Catholic, the coaches and the players, they would ask me about stories from Coach Brian, and Coach Cyber would always joke around and say, I'd tell more Coach O'Leary stories than Coach Brian's stories.
I tell you, the game has changed. A lot of the older coaches are getting out because of all the NLI and portal and everything else, and it's not good for college football, I don't think. And there's ways to do things, but they gotta set limits.
Well, that word you always taught me, man, and Billy and the rest of us, loyalty. It really is not much loyalty around anymore.
No, I think kids today have become mercenaries. They really have. They go to the highest bidder, and half those kids don't work out, and the money that's being wasted on them. And I look at production, and I'd much rather develop kids than buy them myself. So.
Yeah, it doesn't give. I mean, it doesn't teach the perseverance. It doesn't teach overcoming adversity. It doesn't teach getting along. Get along with your DB. Who I didn't get along with my DB coach, but we had to get along eventually. I mean, you have to learn to work with each other. If they had the transfer portal back then, I'd probably been gone out of Alabama and not had the great life that I have right now. I mean, it's just teaching the wrong things.
The kid, I get a bunch of young coaches call me and ask me about moving up, and they said, I said, if you're any good, they'll find you. I said, but more so, I said, my whole thought with coaching was I'd rather be respected than liked. I couldn't care whether you liked me or not, but I always thought you got to respect the people that are making decisions. I said, and I always, I've been called for a bunch of places, want to know if I want to come in as a consultant and stuff like that. I said, no, I said, I won't go anywhere unless I make decisions, not suggestions. And that ends those conversations real quick. So I think that's what's key. And respect is a word that you need to earn. It's not given. And I think, being liked, everybody likes this. It's ridiculous. I couldn't care less whether you liked me. I did care if you respected me or not.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we surely respected you, man, for all that you did for us and all that you did for all the other countless players across the country. Folks, we're with George O'Leary, UCF, ACC, and National Coach of the Year in 2000. Was recruiting that big a key? We talked a little bit about it earlier, Coach, but assistant coaches are critical. Coach Bryant never wanted a yes man, and you were not a yes man.
No.
You probably didn't like them as head coaches, but talk about the recruiting and the developing, how important those two will always be in football.
Well, I used to have a sheet that coaches have to fill out regarding height, weight, speed, and then grade them at the position. And I did that for two reasons. One, I wanted to see what kind of evaluators they were, where you rank a kid 1 to 5. And I always found that they did. And I always go back and look at the sheets. And I could tell the guys without seeing them on the road who were going to be good recruiters and who weren't going to be good recruiters, because some guys look at tape and they evaluate what they see, not give out grades like some teachers do in college. I said, they grade the kid based on height, weight, speed, because, how many times you show up and the kid's supposed to be 6'4" and he's only 6'1" and stuff like that. But
right.
And I just wanted to make sure that height and range were very important to me. Speed and then flexibility. Guys got to be able to bend their knees and stuff of that sort. But I think playing the position, and I think guys recruiting, I think you got to find out. I think the key to success is if you don't get the mom on your side, you're not going to get the kid. It's as simple as that. But
right, true, right, absolutely.
I think the other thing is bringing kids that they may be what they think are 5 stars. But I'm going to tell you something. Most of the kids I recruited were 2 and 3 stars, but we end up playing them like 4 and 5 stars. That's the kid.
Yeah.
You develop the kids in college. I couldn't care less what you did in high school, but I wanted to see what you could develop and have some range and foot speed and toughness. Toughness was critical, especially today. You know, and I was always looking for that toughness aspect of the kid.
Yeah.
See, that word has never left George O'Leary's history. Is the foundation of toughness.
Yeah. Underrated. It's underrated. Always has been. Always will be.
Absolutely.
Wow. But Coach, we're losing you. Losing your connection.
Can you hear me
There we
now?
go. That's better.
Because I think all the hours you spend on the practice field, the weight that you need to be a player. Guys that don't handle that, that's what separates from being on the field.
We're losing your connection, Coach.
All right. Well, listen, I've been on too long and talked too much. Listen, it was great. It was great seeing you guys, and y'all take care. You take care of your families.
Yeah, Coach, we will. Thank you. We love you, Coach.
Hey, I tell you what, you were great. I don't use the word love a lot. I use like. I like.
I know.
You guys.
I know you don't, Coach. I know
like
you don't.
guys.
So
I'll see you soon.
When you
All
say
right.
it, you mean it, Coach.
All right.
We love you.
Now.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Wow, he broke up there at the end, but man, yeah, Coach loves us. He don't say it very often, let me tell you. And he was such an influence on our lives, not just our lives, but hundreds and hundreds of other kids, man.
He wasn't just an influence on our for you, Billy, high school, or for me, college. He's been a constant, a source of truth about, man, if you eat tough, you're going this world run your ass over.
Right.
If you're not dedicated to working hard and doing the little things right day in and day out, you're going to get chopped up. And to this day, Billy, I, Timmy, Jamie, you, anybody who's touched his life or shown a commitment to his philosophies and ways, he's there for. He's an extension of my family.
Blazer, he was there for me last year. Okay.
Yeah.
I needed him.
Yeah.
Let me just leave it at that.
Believe me, it's been high and low on mine too. High and low on mine. I know Billy too.
Yeah, you know the thing is with that man there, it's hard to get a lot out of him as far as what his secrets are and what he's done, but and he's very modest about things that went on, and he kind of doesn't expand on much stuff, but what he has, I think every coach should try to find out, because if you want to be successful,
right,
there's the route to be that way,
Wow. Good show, guys. Love you. Have a great sports week, man. We will do this again next Wednesday. We're going to show this. I'm going to show this on Wednesday and Saturdays as well. Okay.
Sounds good.
See you guys,
brother. Thank you both.
Thanks for watching the show. Appreciate it. I got a little emotional, but Coach O'Leary do that to you. He's a great man. Thanks for watching this wonderful show. Stay tuned for these great messages. Without these guys, this just wouldn't be possible. So long, everybody.
Arbitrium Consulting for all your fencing, landscaping, pressure washing, tree trimming needs. Call 850-483-0350 for your free estimates. Serving Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, Destin, Perdido, Gulf Shores, Foley, and the entire Gulf Coast. Arbitrium Consulting is owner-operated, fully licensed and insured. Call today, 850-483-0350, the official landscaper of Coach's Corner.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm the manager and owner of Cordova Lanes, and we help keep your mind out of the gutter. Cordova Lanes is part of the community of Pensacola. Being here for 43 years, we've entertained more people than any other bowling center in the city. We sell fun for a living. Cordova Lanes is located at 2111 Airport Boulevard in Pensacola, behind Cordova Mall. Come on out and see us at Cordova Lanes Bowling Center. Thank you.
75 years of service in high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. 75 years of service in high.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Drive a little to save a lot on 170 Buicks and GMCs at Step 1 Buick GMC. Get savings up to $4,000 on new Buick Encores, $9,450 on new Buick Envisions, $7,000 on new GMC Yukon XLs, or up to $15,345 off on new Sierras. Only at Step 1 Buick GMC, Pensacola. Plus tax, tag, title, license, dealer processing fee expires 7/31/24 on select new 24 in-stock models. Discount off MSRP includes all incentives.